How's it going, Sha?
I just put a pretzel in my mouth. I don't know what I was thinking.
I feel your pain on that, Sha. So you haven't been seeing this until recently. For those at home, I have very little idea of how to work this tech stuff. So like Sha has never seen me during these recordings until like 3 weeks ago. So she's been recording blind. I finally figured out the video portion where she can also see me. What she doesn't know, but all of you at home know, is I get extremely thirsty 2 seconds into every podcast. Like I just start chugging water, and like the second I say, "What's up, Sha?" If you say anything under 2 seconds, I'm caught because I'm drinking. Like I'm drinking something. So yeah, it's not just you, Sha. I don't know what it is, but something about starting a podcast, it's like it's an oral fixation thing. I don't know, but I instantly get thirsty.
I've got a big, like a pint glass of water.
Okay.
So that's always there. And then whatever the other liquid is, which this week is Martinelli's apple juice.
Oh.
That I have poured into my new stemless wine glass that I bought to drink water out of. Because I don't drink anything stronger than the apple juice, really. The only thing I drink is the occasional apple juice, ginger ale, sometimes Gatorade, and water. And tea, hot tea. That's pretty much all I drink.
It just sounds like you're a constantly sick Black person. Like that's all like remedies.
Yeah, I know. Nothing for fun. Everything is just trying to counteract. It's all preventative liquids, and which is true because the only other shot that I take is literally a juice shot. So yeah, no, everything is just to keep away germs. Now that is now how I drink. All awesome. I eat is sugar, but all I drink is stuff that is to help any other kind of illnesses.
You gotta balance it out.
So, yeah, I'm here. I'm ready for whatever I think. But usually I end up drinking more during the recording of a podcast than I drink maybe all week. I'm not much of a drinker. I'm always dehydrated. And I'm always like, why am I dehydrated? And my body's like, because you haven't put water in us in 2 days. And I'm like, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I should do that. So I've been working on that.
There you go. This podcast could be saving your life. You never know.
It really could be, actually, for both of us. It may be the only way we stay hydrated.
I drink one of those fake waters, the sparkling ice, almost every episode. Right? This is,
okay.
This one is citrus and I think it's a citrus twist. They call it. It says a lemon, a lime, and an orange on it. Somehow it's still zero sugar, but it tastes like Sprite. I don't know how they pull that off.
That don't taste like Sprite. It's seltzer, right? But with citrus flavors?
Yeah, this is amazing. Whatever this is, like I would have drank this pre-diabetes, 100%.
Okay.
So like, I know it's too good. And it's 5 calories, the whole can. I don't know what they're doing. I don't want to know. But I I know my insulin numbers went down. So whatever voodoo they doing, keep doing it,
Okay. I mean, it smells like a trap to me, but I don't know why anybody wants to trap a bunch of diabetics. So I guess it's fine.
I'm gonna be the dude in the documentary in like 30 years. I read the label, it said no, it was in there. So I drank 40 of them a day. What could go wrong?
Right.
Oh man, that lawsuit's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Nothing new here, just the same old, trying and failing to come up with jokes, telling myself that's fine, going to bed early, just things like that.
With that shop, I'm usually like pretty good about being like a balance of level-headed and supportive of my community and my career. I feel like most people would say, like I joke a lot here, but like I think most people would say I'm a pretty nice person in the community and I offer like advice when I can. I'm genuinely like, I try to give back.
Right.
And I try to be a positive force of energy in our community of comedy. And this was one of the weeks where like I could genuinely say for the first time in years, I felt like a little bit of envy from some of my peers. Like I felt oh, like in my heart, I felt like something like I wish I had that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was like not them towards me towards them. And I'm trying to like acknowledge where that's coming from. Cause I think it's healthy to be aware of it. I think it's human to experience that. But I also think, it's not a net positive to experience that long term. So I'm trying to like, I was trying to think of what triggered it this time because I'm usually pretty good at separating it. And I know the advice I would give myself if it were anyone else, but the fact that I went through it surprised me. But what I think was different is two comics who they got separate things that one of them I wanted, one of them I didn't want, but was offered.
Okay.
And one of them I wanted, went for, and found out I didn't get when they got it. And in both cases, they're comics that I respect. I think they're good comics. I think they deserve those things, but they're both younger than me. And I think that's what hit me, that it was like, oh, like this game isn't like school. Like we don't graduate at the same pace, and certain times like the line gets jumped for justifiable reasons. Like I could if you would have asked me last week, I could genuinely say that both of these comics aren't necessarily better than me, but I can admit have more star power, right? Like they deserve to be front of camera. So I could see why they are getting looked at for things that I know skill set wise, I'm just as good, but I'm not that, I'm even if like I got a sitcom, I'm a sidekick, like I'll pop in for like 2 episodes, and I can admit that there's people that like, oh, this person's a star. They should be main character. But yeah, it hit me that like I felt different about it. And I wanted to A, kind of like fully feel that, B, kind of then, hopefully like move on from it. Cause I don't think it's a good place to stay there. I think like ideally you work past that. Like you kind of like what you were just saying, write some unfunny jokes and then get to the good ones, but you got to just keep working. But yeah, it was trippy to me. It was the first time I could say like in years I felt that feeling.
I feel that every time I look at Instagram stories. I look at Instagram until I'm like, no, I got to put this down because I'm too jealous of everybody. Everyone is getting everything and I'm doing nothing. That is literally the refrain that I have in my head all the time. It's not healthy. I would not recommend having that as your refrain, but that is kind of where I am a lot. And then it takes me a minute to just get to like, well, is that something you wanted to do?
Right.
Well, I mean, or is it just, well, look at what they're doing? I mean, what's happening there? So and then I have to admit, oh no, I guess that's not really anything that I wanted to do. And I'm actually happy that they are doing it. But lately there have been things that people are doing that I not only would like to do, I am trying to work towards. I'm working towards doing something like that. And I know it is part of the process, but I also feel like, I don't know. I feel like we started our processes at the same time and they really zipped on and I have not. And what am I doing wrong? And that is what I'm in the throes of right now. And I never get to I hardly ever get to, it takes me a minute to get to just like, well, that's not your thing. Actually, I get there a lot faster in some cases when I know immediately, like, nah, that's not your thing. But that doesn't stop me from seeing people get things and me go, oh,
right.
So yeah. So, but I will still, when it's someone doing a thing, that I'm like, oh, I'm also attempting to do that. Then I get a little, I go in a little more and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Well, all of it. I'm doing all of it wrong. I'm not working on this enough and I should be doing that. And all these other things. And it's like, yeah, but you also still have to, like, this is their main job. And you also have other things that you do. Like, what else? What do you have to then stop doing in order to concentrate on this? And are you willing to do that? And what that takes? And it's like, I don't know, like I've got all these other things being put on my plate, but I'm also like, I mean, I'm honestly trying to not do that as much because I want to work on this thing. And I don't know how to make that understood to everyone and to me. And also what, just the whole, just it's a constant thing because you got to let people know what you're doing, apparently, on social media. And so people are doing so. And I'm like, oh, good for them, and so now I will like look at stories, and then the millisecond that I start to feel bad, I just throw the phone across the room. It is not a healthy thing, especially for your phone, but it is how and then I, turn my back on it and try to think about something else, but yeah, it's tough. I mean, because there are times where I definitely, I see people doing things and I'm like, oh, I absolutely could do that, but I am not young. And not only am I not young, I actively say how old I am, which I've had people say you should not do that. That will hinder you from being able to work and do other things. But I'm kind of like, well, I can't pretend to be in my 30s.
Right.
I can't, it's too far gone. Like I can't, whatever that is, whatever happens, I know what it's like to be in your 30s, but I don't know what it's like to be in your 30s right now.
Right.
And I can't go back to that because so much has changed in the almost 20 years between me, me being 30 and someone being 30 now.
Yeah, yeah.
So much has changed. References are completely different. So I can't lie and walk into a room and try to audition and be like, yeah, I'm 32. Right. And then someone say something. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't, because I didn't do the research. There's a lot more than just, moisturizers and serums and, coloring your gray and deciding I am now this age. You have to be able to move in a certain way and walk and talk. Yeah, you got to live it. You got to everything you say has to be in that way. And if you see me stand up, immediately she hasn't seen 30 in a minute. So I can't get mad at that. But it is wild to just be like, oh, yep, that is what I did at that time. But they're looking for someone who's doing that in this time and whose take on it isn't like, I remember when, but instead like, I'm in the shit now. Right. And, so it's kind of tough. It is kind of tough to see that happen.
Because I'm in that like spot too, where like, when you mentioned the age part, like I started comedy like yourself a bit later than most comics start. And because of that, like the group I came up with is a little bit younger than me. But the industry views me as young until they meet me. And then I don't talk young shit, So like I'm aging out of that group. So like there's stuff that like they like me for in terms of like, oh, you should get this industry thing, or you should apply for this show. And they say that because they like the aura of what I do and what I talk about. They like my skill set. But when we talk, they're like, oh, you're like older than this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a person. And they're like,
right.
Like I age.
Oh, we weren't looking for people. We were looking for
and that's what
only the age 27. We're looking for the numbers 2 and 7 to come into the office. But we weren't expecting people with life experience. That's not what we wanted.
Because like I'll literally have that exact convo, Sha. They'll be like, yeah, like we love the depth of what you have to talk about. Like you bring a lot of weight to your stories and the stuff you bring to the stage. But like you're towards like the back end of like the age range we're looking for. I'm like, yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand. Like I got shit to say because I've been through shit.
Right.
Like that's not a coincidence,
Yeah.
So like I find it like fascinating that like, I'm being like looked at as the elder of some of those things when I don't think I'm old, but I see that I'm older. than the people that are being looked at for the same things. But yeah, like I feel like recently for the first time, I definitely noticed that there have been people that I rock with, but are getting things that I know I'm going up for. And I definitely not only view them as younger than me, now they're younger and in the next class. So I think that's kind of what hit me different. But in turn, like I have to acknowledge that like I got stuff that I know for a fact there's people that have done this longer that still don't have it. And like they're dope.
Right. Exactly.
You know? And to them, they must think of me as like, who the hell is this kid? Why does he have it and I don't have it, or whatever the case may be? And it's so random.
It's absolutely random. I'm sure that there are people who were doing it at the time that I started, and are just like, who is this bitch? And how did she get to do that? And so I think I that's honestly what I do when I turn my back on my phone. It's just like, well, I did get to do this thing and that thing. So like, let's take it down a notch. Like, you're not the worst. It just wasn't for you.
Yeah. Like I literally had someone this week. I did one of the like an audition for like one of these festival things, and someone at the club, another comic who's been doing comedy 20 years, but I know for a fact doesn't have credits and should. And I was so like in my head about what had just happened that like I answered the question almost too honestly, like in a way that is the real answer, but might have hurt that person's feelings. Right. So they were like, and it wasn't a diss. It was just like, I know it didn't give them hope, because they were like, yo, how'd you get on their radar? And like my off the cuff answer was like, fuck if I know, nothing I did. And I kept it moving.
Yeah, right.
You know, it was so honest that like it hit them like, I don't know what to do now. Because like, you know, like I'm pretty good about sharing, like if I have an idea, and like if Gastor's saying like he don't know what the fuck to do, like they just I saw like the hope go away from their face, and I felt terrible. But like it was the truth. Like I don't know what the fuck I did for this particular thing. So like I just said it as opposed to answering more in general about the festival stuff that I have done, which I should have done here. But I felt so bad, and like I couldn't walk it back. Like it was too pure that like he knew that's what really happened. You know? So yeah, if you're out there, my bad, homie. But yeah. We all going through it, man. But
we all are. It's an odd time. It's an odd time. So
oh man, let's get into the news, Sha.
Let's see what's up with the world and how they're doing.
Last week we had a 1 hour and a half epic combo about an award show. This week we have much less of that on a different award show that went as planned. That's right. Silk Sonic swept the 2022 Grammy, Sha. Much deserved.
I mean, okay. They swept in that they won in the 4 categories that they were nominated in.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I mean?
4, baby.
Right. So that's fantastic for them. But for me, when you say a sweep, I think that means that you won the Grammy. You know what I mean? You won all of the big things.
Right.
Like all of them. And they won for Best R&B Song, Best R&B Performance, where they tied with Jasmine Sullivan.
Right.
And Song of the Year and Record of the Year.
Yeah.
So, and I'm thinking, well, it wasn't like it was Album of the Year. I don't even know if they were nominated. But then I have to think, but I don't think Album of the Year means as much as it did back when everyone was like, listening to albums.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. So I guess that's an adjustment or whatever. So yeah, I guess it is some sort of sweep. You know, I mean, they won the 4 that they were nominated for, and I'm happy for them.
Hell yeah.
Because that was a great song, and the way that they were accepting their wins was very funny.
Hell yeah.
They were all dressed up. Anderson Paak had a whole like Ike Turner, Dorothy Hamill bob. If you know who Dorothy Hamill is, you old as hell, but you know the haircut, you know what I mean. But yeah, so I mean, I was happy for him because that song definitely deserved what was what. Did you watch the Grammys at all?
I did not. I watched some of the acceptance award speeches. And admittedly got like a little angry with the comedy situation in retrospect. But yeah, no, I tend to watch like some of the acceptance speeches and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I watched because I had a show, of course. I keep scheduling these award shows when I have stuff to do.
They don't think of us, big.
So they really don't. And so I ran out and did the show. I got there just in time for me to do my set, and then left and came home and watched the rest of it. And it was of the performances and things that I saw, it was fine. I really, I enjoy the Grammys, both the Grammys and the Oscars. This year were, I mean, even slap notwithstanding, we're just kind of Right. And I thought last year, just as a show, considering what we were going through last year, I thought they put on
more
good shows for what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with how the Grammys did last year in that they had people outside. They were sitting outside of the Staples Center, but the performances were inside.
Yeah,
and
it was
so
dope.
They would cut the people. Yeah, I was just like, that's actually kind of great. And I wish they would just do that from that one. But instead, this year they went to Vegas. So I get it.
Ain't mad at it.
But good for them. Good for Jasmine Sullivan.
Hell yeah, her.
Good for Tyler, the Creator, who won Rap Album of the Year. And I mean, I like Tyler, the Creator, and I struggle with that all the time, but I do. I like him. I like him a lot. I do. I like him a lot. I like this version of what he's giving us right now, and
Amen.
I'm happy for him. But, whew, boy, it's been a journey, and I acknowledge that it has been a journey, but I do still like him, and I was happy for him. What else? There were other. I have some issues with John Baptiste.
Yeah, what's the issue with John?
I mean, I don't know. He's all positive and light and all that stuff, and he did this performance, and I don't know what my face was doing, but I know my roommate laughed at me because my face apparently was all screwed up, and I was wincing. It's too much. You know what I mean? Like, he's positive, and that's great, but it's too much. I need to see your negativity.
Yeah.
Not all of it. I just need to see a touch so I know that you're a human. When you're that positive, I don't trust you. So every song's about freedom, and he's in this tight ass suit, and he's dancing and jumping and hopping around. Everyone's like, woo, yeah, freedom and all this shit. And I was just like, what is this crap? And I don't know, man. Something turned in me, and I was just like, this is whatever with his old positivity ass. I just couldn't.
No. I'm with. So I didn't understand it fully because I'm not in that genre of music like that. But like, I get this vibe every time I hear Logic. Like, Logic is a positive rapper, and technically speaking, he understands how to rap.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I hear the songs. And I know they function, they work. And he's doing all the things that I am supposed to like. He writes in-depth songs with positive messages. He legitimately puts effort. I can't say he's half-assing any songs, but something about it is like, this is well done, but it's corny. And I don't know how else to I don't know how to explain it, but like, I get the second I hear it, I'm like, I could never play this in my car.
Right.
It's just instantly like, this is corny to me. And I don't know what it is. And I'm sorry to Logic, but I know I get that instantly. Like, I just know, this ain't it. I
don't wish any ill will on John Baptiste. Like, he's killing it. He's the job of his life on Colbert's show. Colbert found him and introduced him in a way to the whole country, and I don't want to say we're better for it, but he's better for it, right? And so that's great. But man. And I don't even know if corny is, because I can take some corniness. You know, I'm a Justin Timberlake fan. I know corny and I can accept it into my life.
Right.
But it was so, it's not calculated because I mean, I think he believes all of that, but there's something that doesn't feel authentic. And it's like, I want them out there singing and dancing and jumping, and then I want someone on a bicycle to come through and hit a couple of people. Like, I need to see just a little bit of darkness.
Yeah.
You know, or else I'm not going to appreciate all that light you're giving me if I didn't go through a night before. And I need to know that you went through a night before. It can't just all be sunshine. And I know that, and the thing is, I know that Jon Batiste is capable of doing more. I mean, that's his music and what he wants to present. Again, whatever, it's just not for me. But that performance didn't do it for me. I enjoy a clip on YouTube I like watching a lot is when Thundercat is on Colbert and they're doing his song Dragon Ball Durag, and Jon Batiste is playing with him in an extremely jazz way, not just like a jazzy kind of, I mean, like wild chords, and I don't know what's going on with the time signatures. And the first time I watched it, I was like, well, I ain't know that motherfucker had that in him. You know, like I'm like, now we playing like we know what heroin is. You know what I mean? Like, but that's not who America is seeing on the regular. That is who I would rather see. So he ended up winning album of the year, and my roommate was just like, I didn't see that coming. I was like, I did. After that performance, absolutely, they were giving him album of the year.
Man, props.
I wish my eyes wouldn't roll, but congrats to you. He won like five Grammys. Yeah. Congrats.
This is one of the 2 awards I want to. So like I do pay attention to this more. I want an Emmy at some point, and I want a Grammy. Like those are the 2 that like I would like to aspire to. So yeah, I do focus on that.
What was your issue about comedy? Because I have a feeling it's going to roll right into our next topic.
Oh yeah, I mean
whatever. Yeah. It was, I have a feeling.
Well, Louis C.K. won, and like, I have no problem with like him performing. I think anyone that like you're not arrested, you're allowed to talk in public, and if you have a fan base, you are allowed to perform. I guess I'm blown away by the fact that like that tells me that he has that much support from his peers. Like he won. Like I have no problem with him being nominated, but like, how did he win that? Like y'all know what he did. And it was to y'all, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what blew my mind. I had no problem with all the rest of it. Like, he put out an album, cool. People went to see it, cool. That's not my demo. Rock on. You know? People even nominated him. Okay. Maybe 1 in 5 people is pro doing what he did. Cool. I'm gonna even let that slide. But like, yo, he won the vote. Like that blows my mind that like a group of artists know what he did and saw a list of other equally talented comedians and said, okay, all's fair. All of these are pretty good, but I could overlook what he did because of how good this was. That's impossible. There's no way that hour was that phenomenal. That like to me, like for you to like overdo sexual assault, it has to be phenomenal. The work you do, to like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying I even that blows my mind. But like I could see a world where like the thing you did is like so crazy. You know, it's like I know he jerked off in front of them women, but had you heard? You know, had you heard this shit? Like nothing. What he did was fine. It was a good hour, but it was not the so much better hour of the hours that were nominated for that to win out despite that situation. In particular, because so many people have like referenced the penalties that, you know, like he had to suffer with the cancel culture thing. And I don't know. It just hit me weird that like he did this thing and he's not only like back to performing, maybe not to the level that he was, but like he's being revered. Like his peers are saying, yeah, we fuck with this.
It's back to the level. He played at Madison Square Garden when he like last fall.
Yeah.
So he's back up to that level. I would guess that was just I'm not even sure who else was nominated, but I'm guessing that was just like a name that some people in the Academy who could vote were just like, oh yeah, Louis C.K. Well, look at him. Look, he was able to come up with you know what? Good for him. He's moving on without probably even listening to it. Just going, yeah, that guy. I don't know. Maybe it was an Eric Adams situation where no one voted, so that the people who did vote just ended up voting for CK and no one voted for the rest. I don't know. Who else was nominated?
It was the other nominees were Nate Bargatze for the Greatest Average American. I thought that was a really solid hour. I thought it was similarly connected with Middle America, which I thought would give, being frank, I thought he was going to be the winner. Lewis Black, Thanks for Risking Your Life. I admittedly didn't see that one. Lavelle Crawford, I thought had a really good hour, The Comedy Vaccine, and I root for people Black all the time anyway. Chelsea Handler, Evolution, I thought that was solid, and Kevin Hart, Zero Fucks Given, was probably my least favorite of the group. I saw Louise and I thought it was good. I'm not knocking it. It's just that I wouldn't have even nominated. I thought there were phenomenal hours that were released last year. Even of this group, like I thought Nate's easily like beat his, and he gives the Grammy award voters an opportunity to vote for someone pretty familiar as well. Like right now, I would say he is that guy, like the American connection dude.
Nate Bargatze. I mean. Yeah, if you pay attention to comedy. But if you look at the top 10 comedy albums on Apple, has Nate pierced it to be one of the 3 to 4 white guys that take up all top 10 spots unless you put out an album that week.
He's close. Yeah, he's usually like top 20.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not like Mulaney, Gaffigan, and Louis.
Mulaney, Gaffigan, and Dane Cook for whatever reason. Weird Al.
Like those things are top 10.
Those
always.
They are all the top 10 all the time, unless you put an album out, and then for a day you can get up to number 2 or 1 or whatever. Oh yeah. Because just some people buying enough of your records on one day will top what the others are selling.
Word up.
For that day, those guys are selling those numbers all the other days.
Word up.
So, also word to the wise, if you are going to put out a comedy album, double check to see when Jim Gaffigan is going to put his out, because I think we put ours out like 2 days apart. I never got to my number 1 spot because I was like, oh, that's new Gaffigan. Oh, hey, we're lucky with number 2, y'all. Let's just keep it moving. No need to push. That's new Gaffigan. No, you ain't beating no new Gaffigan. Like let's be real.
I made a similar mistake. And what I did, I pivoted. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to get number 1 on iTunes. I'm going to go for these ignored charts. So I went for number 1 on Google Play. Got that. I went for number 1 on Amazon comedy charts. And I let them eat that. I had the 2 slot in the iTunes joint, had a eat hungry pie there.
No, I was absolutely like that. That's perfectly fine. I mean, this is because for a second, because it was the second album, I was like, I wonder why. That's weird. I mean, he's on there all the time. But then I saw when it was released and I was like, oh, because this is that new.
Hell yeah.
And then when you realize that, and you're just like, oh, okay. And then you just keep like, I'm not mad at all. Like, why would I be mad? This is literally his house. Why would I try to kick him out of his house? Let me just get a shrub and then I'll just keep moving.
That man is dominating. Okay.
Absolutely.
Respect.
And that's we all know that that's the case, and that's just how that works. And when you realize that, life's a lot easier.
Oh man. In related news, video has been shown, has been leaked out, showing T.I. getting into a heated exchange with a comedian who mentioned his sexual assault allegations on stage. T.I. wasn't laughing, as pointed out by Baller Alert. Oh my God. The Grammy-winning rapper got into a heated exchange Monday. Oh, that's the name of the source. Okay, the newspaper. Baller Alert. Okay. The Grammy-winning rapper got into a heated exchange Monday night during an open mic comedy event at Our Bar Atlanta. Video shows T.I. standing next to the stage confronting host Lauren Knight after she seemingly mentioned the sexual assault allegations against Tip and his wife, Tiny Harris. Tamika first name, but I like Tiny. Tiny's a fun name. The clip begins with T.I. denying the accusations and reminding the audience that the assault case was ultimately dismissed in LA court. There was no fucking case. There was no fucking crime. There is nothing to charge me for or my wife, he says in the mic before Knight attempts to interject. Shut the fuck up for a second. Hey, listen. No. As many times as you joke on that shit, nigga, I'm gonna check your motherfucking ass as long as it takes. Nigga, when you stop talking about it, when you stop playing with me and mine, I'm gonna stop saying something. He continued. That wasn't enough for him. Ain't no motherfucking case. Ain't never been no motherfucking case, because I ain't did nothing wrong and my wife ain't did nothing wrong. And if you keep playing with me, nigga, I'm going to motherfucking continue to confront you publicly, verbally. He doesn't eject it up. This is wild. Though it's unclear exactly what Knight said to ignite such a response, she later told the audience she didn't believe the assault allegations leveled against T.I. and Tiny. T.I. is innocent. I truly believe it, she said after the rapper called her out. Give it up for him. There are no charges. Immediately after Knight attempted to squash the issue, T.I. began shouting once again and told Knight to stop playing with him. Knight reassured Tip that wasn't the case and reminded him she wasn't just doing her job as a comedian. She was just doing her job as a comedian. This is not a rap battle. This is a motherfucking comedy show, she said. Something that I don't think any comedian has ever had to clarify. As T.I. walked on the stage and gave her a hug. And be clear.
She didn't want.
Yeah.
I got a lot to say. I read up on all of this morning. Yeah.
And be clear. If I want to make jokes about something, I'll make jokes about something. Absolutely. You're not going to tell me to shut the fuck up in my shit. This is my shit. Let's be very clear. T.I. then snatched the mic from Knight's hand and said, "No, it's not," before his sound was cut. This is all insanity. There's
a lot.
There's so much here.
Okay, so all of that happened at Our Bar in ATL in this past Monday.
Yeah.
And so that video starts with him reacting to what she said.
Right.
This thing in Complex does go into what she said, but she also put a video up on Instagram to explain what she said. She says, and I'm reading it from the Complex thing now, T.I. showed up towards the end of the event and delivered a 30-minute stand-up routine. Now, when she said this, look here, y'all. All right, so she said this, and then she just paused and looked in the camera. And we already know, regular listeners of the War Report know how we feel about T.I. going up and just spouting 30 minutes of something 3 to 4, 5, 6 weeks into his comedy career. So that still throws you for a loop. But he also... Before he showed up at this spot, he was at Star Bar in Atlanta, which also has a weekly, a Monday night open mic. And that is where I started in Star Bar and where I recorded my first album. And when I was there in February, whenever I go to Atlanta, I try to stay an extra Monday night so that I can do Star Bar. That's how important it is to me. I was praying for that motherfucker to show up the night when I was there in February, but he was out in LA or something. But I was just like, show up, but not in some I'm going to beat you up way, but I just want to see what it is you've been doing. Right. I want to see your work. So anywho, so he was Star Bar. He goes to our bar, ATL, delivers a 30-minute stand-up routine. Knight says after T.I. completed his set, she returned to the stage to keep hosting, but she kept getting interrupted by T.I.'s heckling, right? And she says, I'm talking about marriage and shit, and he keeps cutting me off, telling me to shut the fuck up, calling me all kinds of bitches, heckling me. So I'm like, all right, come on, stop playing with me. It's crazy. Like, you keep going and I can't say nothing to you. And then T.I. begins telling her to take off her wig and refused to stop, so much so that she described his behavior as harassment. It was at that time Knight decided to fire back at T.I. by bringing up the sexual abuse allegations. She said, all right, I'll take my wig off when you speak on the allegations. That's what she said to him. I'll take my wig off when you speak on the allegations. And then he got upset. But and that's when he got up in front of the stage with his mic and was like, don't nobody want no motherfucking case, yada, 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 yada. Look, okay, I'm going to try to be calm as much as possible. If you are someone who has gotten a fair amount of fame, notoriety in another aspect of entertainment,
okay,
right? And you have decided that you are going to take your talents to South Beach and do comedy now.
Okay.
Now it's a different beast than what you're used to. Yes, it's a different beast. And you have to acknowledge that going in. If you're deciding to do comedy and you're coming from elsewhere and it's because you want to be able to, you go to comedy because you feel like it's a place where you can speak freely, where you can talk about what you want to talk about in the manner that you want to talk about it.
Right.
Others are in comedy to do the same. So everybody's free to speak, which means everyone will speak. So if you are speaking out to someone who's hosting, who's doing their job, and you feel free to speak, why should that person not feel free to speak? Also, should you speak that freely if you know you have these sexual allegations literally on the tip of everyone's tongue? Like, this wasn't from years ago.
Yeah.
This was recent. This was recent. Like, what? Like, if someone mentioned your gun charges, you could bounce back on that because by now you've become America's sweetheart.
Yeah.
Since those gun charges. But we talking about shit from 2021, my man.
Yeah.
Like, why would you? Everything's fair game. So if you think you can talk about somebody and what they are doing or saying, why wouldn't they be able to do that for you? Like, did you not think that was going to happen? And I imagine he didn't, because no one has said anything to him yet about it. He's been at comedy now. What? I guess it's probably 2.5, 3 months, maybe.
Okay, going strong.
And just now, someone has mentioned his allegations. That's a huge weak spot, bruh. There's no armor over you right there. That's your whole underbelly. You should have come up with something before you even hit the stage on how to address that shit. If you know that, there's no honor among thieves.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's actually commendable of the Atlanta comedy scene that y'all went that long.
Is it, or is it just a bunch of motherfuckers who don't want to upset Tip? And I don't want to upset Tip. I don't want any smoke. I absolutely don't want any smoke. But these are his boys. That's his situation. That's his situation. But we all know about the situation. If he's not going to speak on the situation, we're not going to speak on the situation. That's fair. Hey, bruh, I guess handle your whatever you're handling. Lord knows in comedy, we don't speak on a lot of situations that are clear, that are detrimental to other people around.
That's fair. Yeah.
We turn blind. I have so many blind eyes that I have just turned. And it's not ideal. It's not the best way to be, but I feel like maybe it's a thing you have to do to do the job. And it sucks that that's the case. Nah. And I would like to not have it be that way, but I also am not on. I would hate to, you know what I mean? I'm not on.
Yeah.
I'm climbing, but I'm not on. So I also, in some small way, still feel like I need to watch my back. Now, that could just be because I'm not of the young, reckless generation, and I'm still like, be careful and all this other kind of shit. But
yeah,
if you, however, decide that you're going to go after someone who's been doing it longer than you and knows how to strike with very little, knows how to strike, and you ain't ready for that, I don't know. Maybe take a night off. Maybe rethink it. Maybe it ain't for you, bro. Maybe it ain't for you. Life. Yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of life, but you can't just you literally show up to her show and you're doing
it's her spot.
It's her spot. This is her show. She put it together. She makes the flyers. She's I don't know, man. I'm not. Maybe this shit ain't for you, bruh. If you're gonna be that sensitive, and look, comics are sensitive.
Yeah,
comics are very sensitive.
But the way that we fight that back is by being comfortable, like responding to stuff like that.
Responding to shit, having jokes, being able to go back, like like the way you were. And I mean, there's no reason. I can't think of any reason why you would want to go after the host after you've done your set. You're done. You're done.
You shouldn't have even been in the room. You should have left. Yeah. You got some other show to do 30 minutes too long on. Okay.
Go ahead and go, man. You don't need to stick around. It's not your show. Yeah. But it's a way of him, like, I guess, trying to take ownership over what I did not see, but I'm willing to bet was maybe not a strong 30 minutes. I don't know if he's at strong 30 minutes yet.
And to paint the full picture to people that haven't seen this, there's a moment where to Shalewa's point, he gives this unwanted hug that I'm thinking as a street person and a comic, there's a lot that I'm balancing at that moment that she might be balancing as well. Right. She's I got to put on a good show. I got to deal with this celebrity at my show who went too long that can have showed up unwanted, impromptu at the end.
Went too long. Right.
Probably has while I have a closer relationship with the owner, he can definitely affect my relationship and my show because of his pockets.
Right.
And then there's the life and street shit of this guy's coming here, threatening me, giving me a fake forced hug while 4 bodyguards that are 6'3" linemen are there as well, menacing me, because she has to be cordial with this guy that she's clearly in a disagreement with. And even though she's right, there are physically imposing people there telling her yo, you got to handle it this way or there's going to be a bigger problem. No one in the room is on her side outside of a random audience member too. You don't see people come in and interject until well into the clip when they realize oh, this could get physical. This is I got the vibe, maybe a 5'5" woman. She's not huge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's as tall as T.I. So that puts her at least 5 flat. At least 5 flat.
Thankfully they were eye level to each other. So I thought she could take him.
So
but it's just wild to me that she had to manage all of that on stage.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, when he finally I think it starts to hit them oh, I'm doing this wrong. And he walks off. She finally starts to take over the show, do the right thing and acknowledge the moment, makes some fun of it again. He still takes that personal, comes back and sits on the stage. Finally, you know what? If he would have ended it there, it would have been ugly, but at least it would have been a learning opportunity. People would have kept it moving. But to double down then afterward and try to minimize her shit. by sitting on the stage while she's trying to like clean up the mess you just made. Like you got no respect for what we're doing right now. Yeah, it was such a wow like thing. I was blown away by it. Her composure I thought was dope. Like physically speaking, I would have 100% kicked T.I. off the stage when he sat down. I think everything else I would have handled well. I'm impressed, and I think I would have done the first part. But when he comes and sits in front of me, like on some like don't pay attention to this bullshit, or like I dare you to keep talking while I'm sitting here type situation. That would have got real at that point.
It was a mess. And then what he ended up doing, apparently they squashed it at the end of the night, just like on whatever, doing what you got to do to squash it. And then he goes on maybe IG Live or something, and he's just like, I said something about, now she said I called her a bitch. I ain't never call her. Now why is she putting words in it? You know, but he's got plenty of fans who now are going to run up on her.
Yeah.
So that's when she was just like, that's what I have an issue with. We squashed it. It was peaceful when we left that place.
Yeah.
And then you get online and you call your TI army out and no, and he also said, so she put together, on her Instagram, a clip of his IG where he's like, I ain't call her no kind of bitch. Now, if you can prove that I called you a bitch, I'll give you $1 million. And then the next slide is video in the bar of him in the audience yelling bitch.
I love it.
At the stage.
Send them racks.
And so she's like, here's my Cash App information. You know what I mean? Like run her $1 million. Like just and I just saw her when I was in Atlanta last in February, and she is funny. She is funny. And she, it's also just a whole thing of just like, I imagine who T.I. has had to deal with in all of the various rooms have been just other dudes. And this is a room run by a woman. And when say a set isn't going great or you're still learning or blah, 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 but you're with your boys, the dudes are just like, yeah, great, man. No, great. And then you feel more willing to discuss that because you're looking at him as this is my boy, but also he's a comedian. We can talk comedy shit. But when it's a woman, and if you have an issue with that you can't see her as a comedian, you can only see her as a woman. And actually, he's not seeing women as women. He sees them as females. So
problem.
That's going to be a problem. So if he went up there and he didn't have a great set or whatever, and then a woman goes up and she gets a laugh, he's going to see red. He's going to see red. So that's an issue because there are a lot of women, a lot of funny women in Atlanta doing comedy. Bruh, you better get used to that shit. You better get used to that shit. And they may all be relatively new. They're all relatively new. Run up on someone who's been doing this for a minute. Run up on a woman who's been doing comedy and has had to deal with TIs who are not even TI. Yeah. Who's had to deal with that dude constantly.
You ain't new here.
Run up on somebody else.
Yo, I'm blown away by that whole shit always irked me of like people have an issue with women in comedy or them not being funny. And I'm like, I don't know what part, like, I'll fully give you the whole like physical part. Yeah, you'll probably find a dude that can bench press more than a woman. No shit. All right. I don't know what part of comedy you think involves physical strength. Like, I'll see what the advantages that we bring to this game that you are like projecting to the stage. But I promise you, however little they could jump or bench press or dunk, it has very little effect on their ability to pick up a pen and pad,
absolutely,
and write jokes. So like, like it always like stumped me. Like I was like, or like I don't relate to this shit or any of that. Like it never like clicked to me because it's like, I don't know. I feel a large portion of the smartest people. I feel like the majority of the smartest people I know are women.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah, I feel like comfortable
And
saying that. I feel like the men
yeah,
I know that are perceived as smart aren't necessarily, they're not that they're dumb, but they're just focused on one thing. So they like have
mhm.
really like specific experience and knowledge.
Yes,
So it looks like they're
on a
brilliant.
on a topic. So you're like,
Right.
oh, that guy knows a lot. No, he knows a lot about that topic.
Yes.
Whereas women have had to figure out how to talk their way out of things a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So T.I. bringing the energy of somebody who tried to holler at a girl and no one liked him. So now he's going to take it out on the next girl. Like, what are we doing? Get out of here with that weird bravado, this weird bravado. Like, yo, man, just work on your jokes. Just see women
Yeah.
who are doing comedy there, see them as fellow comedians. If you're going to be a comedian,
Exactly.
you got to see them as such. You're going to have to toughen up in a way that maybe you're not used to, but you are getting in a den with people who
they put in the hours.
I mean, she didn't. Yeah, and she's not even like that. Wasn't even if that was enough to get a rant. Imagine what happens when you.
Yeah, she never even
didn't
like
even
went
go
in on them. Yeah.
So imagine you in a room with people who don't give a fuck, and this is their job.
Yo.
You know, yeah, like
you won't catch it, and like
you gonna catch it, bro, and you can't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna do.
And I guess I'm like realizing like why it bothers me, right? Like as a person trying to get better at the craft, the second you view this as I can't get that from women, you are literally dismissing learning from half of the group of people that are ahead of you.
Yep.
Like I cannot tell you how much advice I have gotten from female comics that I respect as peers or as OGs. I'm like, unfortunately, they are constantly like put in spots like this, and they're less prone to give advice. Like that's the one thing I've noticed, that like when I want advice, I can ask one of the women that I know in comedy, and they'll give me dope advice, but I need to ask because they've had people shit on that aspect of it. And then the other end of it, whether I want advice or not, a guy is always going to tell me advice.
Always.
Like I'm always getting advice from dudes. Yo, you should try this shit. I'm like, I get you, but you just older than me. You don't know more. Like
right. Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten a lot of advice from people in their second year of comedy, like while I was in my 10th. And and you're just like, okay, cool. Yo, all right.
T.I., man, you got work. Like T.I., right? And the thing is, like, he's in like the rap version of being a trucker, like he's in like the entertainment version of being a trucker, in that like rap is like a mostly man thing. So he has very little work experience with women,
Right.
So like,
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So he doesn't know, like in this world, like while it's still not perfect, I will say comedy amongst entertainers, like I think are further along in that line of like viewing women as our peers and being more open-minded to the fact that other people can be funny. Whereas rap, unfortunately, doesn't have that nearly as much. So yeah, he's coming without, he doesn't have the skill set to like deal with women as his peers. And
he's gonna have to. That's really, no one has said that. I mean, not that I've seen anyway, that has said that that's why, but I'm thinking of the stories that I've heard of him going around Atlanta. And what made this different from that? What made this different from the open mic night that he did, the show that he did earlier?
Yeah.
And it's that I mean, the only difference I can see is that Andy Sanford hosted at Star Bar, and Lauren Knight hosted her show. Yeah. I don't know, man. Look here, bruh. Don't have any of your dudes run up on me with whatever. But honestly, if you do, I don't even fucking care. Who are you, T.I.?
Seriously. My family will be rich.
I mean,
you could do all you want.
Man. I don't, like I just want you to respect whatever it is that you're starting to do here. And if this is not a good look. And also other comics who are out here who also don't respect what you're doing. Don't think we don't see you too. We just know how to avoid you. You don't have the power that T.I. has. So we have figured out how to move around you. So now we just got to figure out how to move around whatever this energy is. But I'm not really trying to welcome this energy in.
Yeah, it got no place.
I was so angry when I read this. I was like, I don't know if I should even talk about this, but
I don't blame you.
You know, but it's heavy on my heart, and I'm like, my heart's got enough on it as it is. But I can't not get worked up over it. It's not fair to Lauren Knight. It's not fair. It's just not fair. And I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I'll have to listen to it. Oh. I don't want to deal with it.
Speaking of weighing heavy on my heart.
Oh,
Paula
yes.
Patton. Paula Patton responds to the fried chicken controversy. That's right. It's not that Paula Patton does not give a cluck. This is a CNN article, by the way. Does not give a cluck.
No. You're fired, CNN.
She's just getting roasted over her chicken frying skills in stride. The actress caused quite the stir recently when she shared a video on Instagram in which she prepared her mother, Joyce Patton's famous, quote unquote, fried chicken recipe. In it, Patton says she's frying 138 chicken wings for her son Julian's school. She is then seen rinsing the chicken in cold water on a runny faucet, dipping it in flour, placing it in avocado oil to fry, and then adding Lawry's seasoned salt, paprika, and pepper to the chicken while it's frying. I cannot stress how exact those sentences are. Like, that is verbatim what she did. She literally turned on the faucet, dipped the chicken under the running faucet, then put the chicken in a Ziploc bag with the crumbs, the breading, put it in a frying pan with oil, then added seasoning afterward into the oil, not before. She just added it on top.
Right.
And when the oil looked like, malta, like it looked like, car oil.
Right.
You would flip the chicken, look at the chicken, said that looks good, open the chicken, and ate a very pink piece of chicken to like demonstrate that it was cooked.
Oh no.
When I saw this, like I knew I instantly knew, like I knew from before that she was mixed. Like I've always known this. But I didn't know what parent, like I just knew she was mixed. And like I was like, oh, it's Def the mom. Like I Googled to verify, but I knew beforehand. I wanted to be like, I didn't know what I want. I don't know if I wanted to be wrong and like maybe like her mom was negligent, or I wanted to be right just to be secure in our culture. But like I was like thrown off. And then I showed my wife like angry at like society. I was like, you believe this shit? This is happening out there. Like that poor kid had to come to school and say my mom made this shit 138 times. He had to tell 138 kids. Because they ask every piece of chicken. Your mom made this? Your mom? And then
what upset you more? Did you, because I saw that really the complaints were either she didn't wash the chicken enough or that she was seasoning the oil. What aspect of it really upset you?
Personally, I'm going with seasoning. Like the washing the oil thing, I wash my chicken. I think that's a cultural thing. But I understand that so many people are saying the science says differently and they're doing it differently. Fine. But like, even if you are okay not washing your chicken, you should still want your chicken to taste good. Right. Like, whether you wash it or not, it should still taste good. Like, I don't like when you don't season chicken, you understand like you could taste like the chicken's life, like the chicken running away. Like it's a different energy the chicken brings when you don't season it. The reason chicken blew up is because it's like a palate. Like you could do stuff to it to make it incredible.
Right.
I don't want to just taste the blank palate. Like that's bananas.
Yes. Okay.
That's the whole that's the whole advantage of it. You can make it whatever you want. It's like the tofu to animals.
Right. All right. First off, I feel like we should apologize to all vegans and vegetarians because we did just say that chicken is the tofu of animals. And also maybe the animals. I feel like we should just apologize to everyone on that one. But I mean, I'm not sure Gastor's wrong, but I'm not sure it should have been said. Yeah, the seasoning of maybe her mom thought she was doing something by seasoning. Because I bet you that, did she say that her grandmother also made it this way or something? Was this a generational thing? I feel like this is something that maybe her mom came up with when it was pointed out that there's no seasoning at all on her chicken. And she's like, oh, I guess I'll just season it while it's cooking. Like, you know what I mean? Or someone saw her and was just like, you're not going to put any salt on that. And she's like, oh, sure. And then she did while it was cooking. And that's just how it's made now. That is, I want to say it's wild, but I don't know if you are fully aware of how commonplace not seasoning chicken is, not seasoning anything. I don't know if you're aware of how many people don't use seasoning at all. Like why? Why? I don't know if it just never occurred to them, if they think it's maybe too spicy, if it's whatever. Just no seasoning at all. None. And it's not that they are
dying, like they're not dying.
It's not that they're anti-seasoning. They just wouldn't do it. But if they went somewhere and something was like spicy, it's in the way that you're like, you go to some kind of mainstream restaurant or something and they're like, now this one's spicy, and you're like, it's not, because so many people don't season that. Just seasoning, not even spices, just seasoning is enough for people to go like, whoo, this is too much. So many people don't, and that's something that I've learned getting older. I'm just like, oh, so nothing at all. And when you grow up in a house where people do it, when you encounter none, you think it's a mistake. You think you're sick, or you think like, that can't be, like, there must be something wrong. But there's not that there's anything wrong. They just truly do not season at all. The first time I encountered it, it was a guy that I was dating, and I went to dinner with his at his parents' place. Actually, I don't even think were we dating then? I don't think we were dating anymore, but I was friendly with his folks. And so I went with him to his folks' house. We're having dinner. They made like chicken and broccoli, rice out, very simple meal, nothing. And when I say nothing, I know people out there are like, oh, so just salt and pepper. Bitch, I said nothing. Nothing. And I took 2 bites of chicken and I was just like, no, that can't be right. And I took a 3rd bite and I'm like, she put nothing on here. She might as well have boiled the whole thing in a bag and then just put it on a plate. I'm just like, nothing at all. And I'm looking around like, I don't see salt anywhere. I don't see, like, is someone sick? Like, is your dad sick? Is this like
it's a heart condition. That's my first thought. Like,
yeah, I'm like, dying. Is it like high blood pressure? Is that it? I know we're supposed to cut back on the salt, but I didn't know that meant cut all, like, no sodium. And it was just nothing. I'm like, not even butter? Give me some butter. Nothing. And it fucks me up to this day. And I do have people in my life who they never learned how to season. And I'm like, okay, well, you gotta, what? Yeah,
what
it's
cooking
wild.
is, isn't it? Like, I feel like all the other parts,
guess,
because everything else involved with cooking, you don't do. Like the heating part, you're not physically like controlling the fire. You just put it in. You put it on.
I think actually some people might be. I think for some people, cooking is just applying heat to food until it is at a desirable whatever, and then putting it on a plate. And that's enough. That's fine.
The machine does that for you now.
No, okay. Well, some people aren't just putting it in the machine.
That's all they doing. Like, that's wild.
They're
like,
just
I would respect that
in a pan and on the.
Like, so if you in the backyard and like you got like a whole like pig through a stick and you like spinning it over a fire you started by hand. by like spinning the two sticks and you did that shit, then yeah, I could kind of respect that. Like there's a craft there. But like if you
but you still gotta put salt on that shit.
Yeah, you
I
still
don't care
should.
if you invented fire, you're also gonna have to invent salt.
Yo,
you can't. Yeah, no, people. Yeah, people just don't. They're like, it's too much.
Like it's
and look.
Oh my god, I've been spoiled by this in Italy. Like all the every woman I've dated was Spanish, Black, Filipino, and the one group of white women I dated were Italian. So like I feel like they still season food.
Right.
So I didn't have that like growing up, you know, and then all my boys are like Black, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Filipino. We all season food, you know? If anything, like it's like, oh, I don't rock with that seasoning. Like that's not my cup of tea. Sure, I'm with that. Right. But you did something that 90% of the room connects with. But like if you don't, like I've never seen unseasoned food get a good review. It's always like, okay, like yeah, we ate.
It's either shock or mostly shock, and then it's because I mean, if it's unseasoned food, it's hopefully not in a restaurant. So who you're hearing from are people who like went to someone's house and maybe they're trying to find a nice way of saying that it was terrible. So it's either like I was shocked there was no seasoning, or it was like, well, I mean, I guess maybe they're sick and you don't, but if it's in a restaurant and unseasoned, you're going to hear about it.
So like your boyfriend in it was like high school, whatever. Like
no.
You know this guy? Like, would you be able to reach out to him now? Like people that don't season. Like, I'm curious.
His mother didn't season. I think I don't know how much of a cook he might be, but I think he would probably add a little bit more.
Okay. Because like my thing is like when you go to the supermarket, like that's like a whole aisle. You just ignoring. You never like explored. You saw that whole wall.
Yeah.
Of like little powders.
I can put my finger on a person right now, my roommate, who did not grow up with anyone. He's written jokes about it. He did comedy, and he has written jokes about, he wrote a joke about how his mom would cook, and how and call a dish a thing, and then he'd go elsewhere and find out what that thing really is. Like he has this great joke about his mom serving him, I think, cut up hot dogs in rice and ketchup or something, and calling it jambalaya. And then he went on a trip to New Orleans and had actual jambalaya. When he came home, he was like, we have to talk. I'm out here looking like a fool. But his mom just doesn't like spice. His mom just doesn't season. She doesn't really like anything spicy. So I'm watching him cook. I'm watching him figure out how to make a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches here in the house. And I'm watching, and he's cooking eggs, and I'm like, you ain't gonna put nothing in them eggs? And he's like, what? I put the cheese on the thing. I was like, yeah, but I mean, like you don't put no salt and nothing in them eggs? You don't put no pepper in them or nothing? He's like, nah, I don't really. I'm like, okay. So no salt, huh? No salt in them eggs? So now, after that, he's like, okay, well, I guess maybe I'll put a little salt in. We'll put a little pepper in there too. Now I got him to where he is using, what does he use? Like everything but the bagel seasonings from Trader Joe's. That has salt.
Okay.
Sesame seed. Like that's a collection of whatever, but he likes spicy stuff. He likes seasoned stuff. He worked in a restaurant, and he was going to make something based on something he had at the restaurant. And there were these spices that he needed to get and seasoning. And he's like, I got to go to the store and I got to buy all this stuff. And I'm like, let me see the list. And I look and I'm like, 98% of this is already up there. He's like, really? I'm like, yes. All those little bottles.
You thought they were decorative?
What do you think? Yeah. It's not different versions of salt. All of that is up there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. That's awesome. Like I just thought you was really into salt, you know what I mean? You got Japanese Himalayan salt, you know what I mean?
I mean, if you want to be that person, sure. But so I can't see how her chicken is good, but at least it's touching something with a seasoning in it. You know what I mean? Like It could be so much worse, everyone.
No,
be...
so like, and it's the other thing. And, you know,
because think about it, no seasoning at all, not even in the oil, means that you just dragging your you're just dragging your wet chicken through flour.
Yo.
And you putting that in there, and then you're like, what is fried chicken? The flavor is in the fried. And it's like, no, then just give me a bowl of flour.
Oh man. So this is the other thing. And like, so we're not ugly people, but no. I feel like we're self-aware enough to know that we're not models either, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're okay with that, saying that. Paula Patton, I think most people would say, is beautiful in terms of like the traditional Hollywood look. She fits that.
Yes.
So I am curious how often people have told her she's bad at something, her life.
She seemed to take this very well. I feel like maybe she just doesn't know how to cook, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't think she should know how to cook.
She's the kind of hot that there are a lot of things she really should know how to do, which I think might be why she was like, hey, look, y'all, this is how my mama made it. This is the only way I know how to make it. Sorry. That could also be like hot people privilege of just like,
like, that's kind of what hit me here. I was like, yo, like, their life is different. Like,
yeah.
There's because like you start to think of, like, there's so many like boyfriends, crews that hung out, like not even boyfriends, just friends. Like she had to have cooked at another time. And like her friends was like, yo, like we can't tell Paula that this is trash. You know? And like as a group for 48 years, no one has told her. Yo, you
keep in mind though that she started dating Robin Thicke in high school, and they dated and they were married for a long time. You think Robin Thicke is going to be like, you are seasoning that chicken wrong? Yeah. I mean, God bless Robin Thicke, but his dad was Alan. Like, let's be,
Yeah, I don't think he knows about seasoning either.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I should have known that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like I could believe Robin Thicke has found seasoning, but like I definitely don't think Alan Thicke was seasoning anything in that house.
Yeah. No. So,
damn,
maybe it just tasted like home to him. Who knows? We are making a lot of assumptions.
Oh man, keep making a trash chicken. Who cares? All right. No, you know what? Nobody at that school complained. It was just the internet. Okay. You got a whole school of kids and parents that appreciated that flavorless pink chicken. You keep making it. Okay. Yeah. It's guiding you for life. Why not? You got a happy kid. He healthy. He'll probably
he probably eats a lot of salad.
Yo, real talk. I was just about to say, this is how people become vegan. They think chicken don't taste good. They think meat don't. You can give it up if it's never been seasoned.
Right.
And then your vegetables.
Who knows? It's probably
right. Like the vegetables even taste better by accident because vegetables like to add flavor, and they don't realize they can just put that on the meat, and the meat will become exceptional. Yo.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Also, everybody, you can season your vegetables. Like I when I tell you it was a plate of just paper, like that woman gave me, and I'm like, not even on the broccoli. Like I just, it was fascinating, Gastor, and I swear to you, you don't realize how commonplace it is, but it is out there much more than we think.
Oh my God. I feel for the audience.
Yeah.
Y'all are all like, real talk, you guys are seasoning. I hope y'all are seasoning. Like, I'm concerned now, like, just as a people, like, I see the numbers. I know, like, the people downloading this podcast, you ain't all in, like, the major cities. Maybe seasoning hasn't got to you, If it hasn't, like, real talk, like, do we need to make, like, a starter PDF file, how to season food? We'll get it, War Report style,
Absolutely.
We'll put the word out.
Make it as simple as possible.
Oh yeah, like I'm concerned for the people. We just started teaching our kids how to cook for real. Like Aiden made chicken tenders and potato like kind of like tater tots.
Okay, like potato wedges or something like that.
It was like that. And then Michaela the next day made a pepper steak.
Okay.
With mashed potatoes. She handled it. Like she good. Aiden, it was iffy. He had a lot of questions.
Well, I mean,
he's younger, he fucked it up. I get it. But like we running through it, And like every single step he had questions that like was annoying me. But like Gabby was shutting it down. So like the first right off the bat with the cleaning chicken thing, he's like, we cleaned the chicken and then we put it in vinegar for a minute, like for a while, like to kind of like disinfect it as a thing.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. All right.
And so like Aiden was like, why do we do this? If we like, if we gonna put other stuff on it. And Gabby was like, I just like to do it because I like to clean the chicken. And it's a way for me to like kill the chicken taste that comes when you just get chicken straight out. And he was like, the teacher in school told me not to clean the chicken. And I was like, yeah, you never go into her house. Like that was Gabby's verbatim response. She's like, yeah, you never go into the house. So don't worry about that. And like, I was so proud. Like, I was like, hell yeah, you tell him that shit. Cause like Gabby's normally like, positive with she was like, nah, no, fuck that. You never go into a house like that. Okay. And it felt like in that moment, I feel like I saw like a tick in my son's brain of like, oh, I can't marry somebody that don't cook that don't clean chicken, and like I felt a little safer now, like when I go to my kids' crib.
You're definitely setting up something that along the line might be an issue when he is trying to find a mate and they don't cook chicken like his mama. I mean, you also, that's a thing that people have had to compete against. The memory of your mama's cooking, like that's a whole. We've already been talking for almost an hour and a half.
Hell yeah. We had 3 topics today. Okay.
3 topics. Look at us.
Our podcast is changing. Okay. We doing essays now, baby. What we gonna do?
Oh my goodness.
If you would like for Shalewa and Gastor to start a spinoff food-related essay podcast.
A limited series.
We talk about seasoning and T.I. stopping comedy. Only 2 topics we cover. And somehow
I get more smoke on the cooking than on T.I. People are like T.I., but really the cooking thing.
That's literally what we call it. All right, war report, all the smoke. It fits both topics. It's great. If you would like to spin off series, all you gotta do is like subscribe to the show, baby. You know what I mean? If you are an Apple or a Spotify listener, we appreciate your ratings. 4 stars means you don't season enough, okay? You should subscribe to All the Smoke. This is going to be helpful for you, I promise. Even if you want to keep giving us 4-star ratings, we understand where your heart is, but you'll be better for it. 5 stars, you season well, okay? You got all of the salts. You got all of the different colors, little like jar containers of powder that Shalewa's roommate doesn't know what they are. Easily, okay?
He just had to see it on a list.
How many different
not in that cabinet?
How many different like seasonings you think you have in your crib?
I mean, I've got your basic, right? Your salt, your pepper. The salt, I've got kosher salt, sea salt, table salt.
Yeah.
I may have 2 different types of sea salt, but I got the 3 basic salts, I guess.
Yeah.
Your pepper, black pepper, and white pepper. My roommate got a coarser ground pepper because I had a fine ground pepper.
Nice.
So he got a coarser ground one. I got white pepper. I don't know. I saw it and was like, okay. Onion powder, garlic powder. Cinnamon, nutmeg, cinnamon, and sugar, separate from just regular cinnamon. Thyme, basil, oregano. I do a cheat, so I have an Italian seasoning because I don't think I need as much sage, but that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, what else? Yeah, and then like ones that I'm like, I don't even know. Oh, I have a curry. it's yellow, but it's Oriental is what it says on it. And I'm like, I don't even know if that's legal to put on there, but okay. And I think I've got cumin. I just bought star anise. I have it in my head that I'm going to try to figure out how to make pho. And I know I needed star anise and cinnamon sticks and a few other things. So I'm trying to get all those together. But I got a lot of them just littered back there.
Hell yeah. That sounds right. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm not crazy. So yeah, putting it out.
You're not.
If you got under like 15, you got a problem. Okay. Sincere. I don't know if I'll go to your house, eat, and trust that cooking. I didn't count because we have 36 different type of seasonings in my house that we carry regularly. And the only reason I know that's the number is because Gabby's been trying to like really super organize the whole home. And she hit the kitchen like 2 months ago. And it's one of those things that like, it looks pretty, but it's just extra work in my opinion. But she got glass containers for all the seasoning that she buys seasoning that comes in a container and pours into the thing.
It's the thing. That is that'll be a whole other episode, but that is something that people who like to organize like to do. Sure. My whole thing is organize as much as you can, make sure that they're fresh because they do go bad.
Hell yeah.
So check the smell. Because if you're like, oh, I've got this, I don't really smell it, but I'm sure it's fine. It will not show up when you heat it up. And
it's
then
trash.
Yeah, it's trash. So definitely keep track of that kind of thing. But
she got a little like calendar, like for like Chuck dates. So like when I see red, I gotta throw it out. That's what she says. She got a whole system. Like anytime I see red in the house, I gotta throw some out. Like there's little like post-it notes and stuff like that all over the place. All I'm saying is 16 and up, people. Okay, have variety. At least 3 salts. Okay. I saw that Netflix documentary, that the fat salt.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Things. Brilliant. Loved it. Yeah. Opened up my whole world to salts. Did all that. Peppers. At the very, if you don't have every seasoning that your pizzeria puts out just for free, you messing up. That's 4 or 5 right there. Okay.
I mean, I have a couple of spices that I can't even use because I have acid reflux, but I'm like, but I think you still have to have ground red pepper though, right?
Hell
You still have to have it. So, I think chipotle, I have a lot. Cilantro. Yeah, I got a lot of crap in there for someone who literally only eats instant ramen. I got a lot of shit.
Damn real. Because even if you can't do it, we aspire for more. Okay.
Right. We're just trying. We're just shooting for it.
That's all we doing here. Okay. So yeah, subscribe to this show, but also to this theoretical future series show that won't happen. Okay.
Right.
If you have any articles you want us to cover, please DM us directly at Silky Jumbo at Gastor Almonte on Twitter and Instagram. Although admittedly, we've struggled to cover the articles the last 2 weeks.
I know. I swear we'll get to them.
We try. They're there. I promise you. We've created the list.
We're looking at a whole list.
With all that said, my name is Gastor Almonte, always with Dom and Shalewa Sharpe. This has been another really specifically themed episode of The War Report. Catch y'all next time. Promise we'll get to at least 5 articles, okay? Peace.